All right, I am so excited for you guys, and hopefully you are already developing some rich relationships that will make a difference in you for a long, long time. We are in week 4, and so we're actually beginning another section in the walking through of our core commitments, Epic Life. So EPIC. We just spent 3 weeks on Every Day with Jesus. Now we're going to spend 3 weeks on practical love. And for those of you who may be brand new, there is one statement that we use to always kind of bring us back to what practical love is all about. And here it is. If heaven and hell are real, the most loving thing I could do is introduce someone to Jesus. Just think about that. And there's a lot of ways we could talk about being practical with our love in a marriage and with our family and with people at work and in our neighborhood. But the most loving thing we can do is to introduce someone to Jesus. Now, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to unpack that idea. And this week in particular, you just heard Pastor Joe talk about it. We're talking about how relationships matter. Relationships, it's on us to develop those relationships. And so we talk around here a lot about our top 5 list. And if that's new to you, let me quickly explain it. We want to have at least 5 people on a list of people that we know, people that God has put in our life. It could be at work, at school, in our neighborhood, wherever, but at least 5 people who need to know Jesus. And we love them enough to develop a relationship and then share Jesus with them. That's what we're going to begin talking about today. And so what I want to do is give you one verse that's just been a key for me for probably 30 years. And when it comes to relationships and how much they matter, the Apostle Paul says this in 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Listen. Yes, I try to find common ground with everyone, doing everything I can to save some. Yeah, what is the common ground that you have with people? Maybe at people at work. Well, you have work as common ground, but maybe you also have a similar common ground when it comes to sports and maybe a team that you both root for. Maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's something else, but we look for the common ground. That gets a relationship started. See, if somebody moves into your neighborhood, if somebody's new at work, if somebody's new at school, if somebody is a brand new waiter or waitress at your favorite restaurant, how do you develop a relationship? How do you get that started? Well, you look for the common ground. So ask some questions, find out what their interests are, and maybe you'll find that touching point. See, at my workplace, my staff, they're already all Christians. And yes, at church, at work, I do get to meet people who aren't Christians yet. But in my life, I've got to make sure I'm looking for people because Jesus told us to go and make disciples, not just for waiting for people to come to you. So in mountain biking and in photography, there's 2 subcultures where I've met a lot of people who may be far from Jesus, but God has now put them into my life and I can help develop a relationship with them. So as you get started this week, what I want you to do is take a minute and talk about the person who showed you Jesus, pointed you to Jesus. Just talk a little bit about that. And then you can talk about the relationships you want to develop in our valley, in our community, maybe even with your extended family of the people you love that need Jesus. You guys have a great time. We'll see you next time.